All right, week one college football breakdown. Another Friday night game here. It's actually a conference game, too. Indiana, obviously one of the most disappointing teams in the country a year ago, taking on Illinois in Bloomington. Seeing the Hoosiers, actually, despite that disappointing season, they're favored in this one by 3. This total has gotten steamed down all the way to 45. I agree with that move for sure. Listen, Illinois was my only bet last weekend. I bet them minus the 10.5. They absolutely ran Wyoming off the field. Is it possible that even with that easy win and cover, that I actually maybe have more questions about their offense now than I did going into the game? I mean, listen, Chase Brown is a really good running back. I'm not going to deny that. He looked great last week. And this is a guy last year, 1,000-yard rusher, almost 6 yards per carry. So I don't worry about this run game necessarily, but listen, Tom Allen is no dummy. I know he had a bad year for the Hoosiers last year, but I mean, if you're Tom Allen, your defensive game plan is going to be pretty simple. You're going to load the box and you're going to dare Tommy DeVito to beat you deep. Tommy DeVito was, I think 27 or 37 through the air last week, but less than 200 yards. Showed really no acumen as a downfield thrower. The reality of it is you need those explosive plays in the vertical passing game to be an efficient offense. And, coming off of last week, and possibly Brett Bielema didn't want to show all his cards. It was pretty apparent early in that game that Wyoming had no shot. I mean, Wyoming is a bad football team. So maybe we do see this passing game take more shots. But, with that being said, I just didn't see maybe what I was looking for in that element of the game with DeVito last week. And it's something I do worry about. I do have my overall questions about Indiana's front seven. It's actually kind of just a total question mark to me. They obviously weren't good last year, and there's just not a lot of continuity up front or at that linebacking core for them. But I think their strength defensively is going to be those cornerbacks. So even if Illinois' offense does get a little bit more aggressive, this is not going to be necessarily an easy matchup to do that. As far as Indiana's offense, bringing in Connor Bazelak from Missouri, I mean, I see no shot that Connor Bazelak doesn't start this game. I think it's honestly crazy how Jack Tuttle is even, a viable threat in this quarterback competition. Connor Bazelak is certainly no world beater, but 66% through the air throughout his career. Kind of another guy that, hasn't really proven himself in the vertical passing game. The reality of it is I just don't think Indiana's talent on the outside is very good. I think this is going to be a team that, is going to need to develop some of those young running backs. Got to transfer from Auburn, got to transfer from North Carolina. But I guess the issue is both those guys are super young. If those guys were to develop and, come along as pretty good players, it's probably going to come throughout the course of the season and not necessarily be apparent here in game one. I do think Illinois' defense is solid. Didn't think they looked great along their D line against Wyoming, but got a good pair of linebackers and think their secondary should hold up in this matchup. That being said, this line implies that these teams are about even on a neutral field. Obviously, with Indiana getting that kind of standard 3-point edge being at home. Like I said, I don't know if I saw enough last week from Illinois to just, go out on this limb and say they're clear-cut a better team than Indiana. Indiana sucked last year, but I still think Tom Allen has earned somewhat of the benefit of the doubt, brought in a new quarterback. I'm kind of in wait-and-see mode on Indiana. I don't think they'll make a bowl game, but at the end of the day, this is certainly a game at home that they believe they should win. If you're asking me to pick a side, I would still lean with Illinois. I think one good option here might be to tease Illinois up to +9, get them at 2 possessions. With the total being at 45, this is expected to be a pretty low variance, low scoring game. I think that's not a bad call either. The reality of it is I was priced out of betting this under. I mean, I was seeing this closer to 50 than I was 45. This thing has been steamed down all the way to 45 in this kind of low variance nature type of game. The difference between 2.5 and 3 points on a total is a big deal. It's not like we're getting Ole Miss and Tennessee where it's going to be fast paced, high scoring type of games where, 2.5, 3 points might not matter as much. Losing 3 points of value here is a big deal. So I'm not sure here on Wednesday if I am going to do that. If you want to be sure if I'm going to do that, follow me on Twitter at Fordham Betting. I'll release my full card probably tomorrow on Thursday. I've already released 4 best bets here for week one. I'll leave the link to those write-ups in the description below. But like I said, follow me on Twitter at Fordham Betting. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. That really helps out what I'm trying to build. And then leave your comment below how you think this game is going to shake out. I love these early season conference games. You should be able to find out a lot about these teams here on Friday night. The reality of it is my best look was the under, and we just kind of been priced out of that. So unfortunate, but do think this is a 1 possession game in either direction.